The players are taken to an empty white room where they will have to separate into groups of 2. Gi-hun's team needs to separate as well. They look at each other in confusion. Min-yo tries to talk Gi-hun to team up with her. When he doesn't speak, she makes her way to Sang-woo, who also declines her offer. Sang-woo asks Ali to be his teammate, and the 2 look at Gi-hun to see if he objects. Gi-hun asks them to go ahead and starts looking for a teammate himself. Inam makes his way towards him, but Gi-hun knows he cannot win with an old man as his partner, so he apologizes to him. Inam simply gives him his jacket, saying that the others might look down upon him if he doesn't have one. Gi-hun feels bad for the man, but goes looking for a member anyway. Sae-byeok and Ji-young join hands as well. A man asks Gi-hun to be his teammate. He reveals that since the doctor is dead, it leaves an odd number of players. So, the one with no partner will probably be killed. Gi-hun looks at Inam. He asks the old man to be his partner. In the end, the one person who doesn't have a partner is Min-yo. She is taken away by the guards. The players are then brought to a mock neighborhood. Inam and Gi-hun talk about the alleyways looking like their childhood homes, while Ali and Sang-woo promise each other that they will win the money together for their families. However, all of their plans fail when it is announced that the pairs will be going against each other. They are given 10 marbles each and told to play any game they want to with them. They are given 30 minutes to complete the game. Gi-hun is shocked. Inam trembles in fear and accepts. At the same time, Ali and Sang-woo, who treat each other like brothers, have to go against each other now. Ali doesn't even know how to play it, so Sang-woo teaches him. The 2 start playing, and Ali makes the right guess at first, taking 2 of Sang-woo's marbles. Eventually, Ali wins all of Sang-woo's marbles, except for 1. When people start dying, Sang-woo claims that he has a way they can both win. An innocent Ali, who doesn't want to be the reason Sang-woo dies, listens to his plan. Ali still doesn't understand Sang-woo's plan, but agrees to do whatever he wants, because he trusts him. Sang-woo also makes him wear his marble bag on his neck, so no one can snatch it. Meanwhile, Ji-young and Sae-byeok sit together, not knowing what to do. Sae-byeok, being from North Korea, doesn't know any marble games, so Ji-young offers to teach her. But both girls do not want to play for 30 minutes, so they decide to just talk for most of the time, and bet all of their marbles on one game at the end. Sae-byeok, who normally doesn't like to speak much, reveals that her father died while trying to cross the border, and her mother was caught by the Chinese police and sent back to North Korea. She wants to buy a house and bring her mother back after she wins the money. Ji-young laughs, saying that she could do a lot more than that with the money. Ji-young then reveals that she killed her abusive father and went to prison for it. She has no motive to live, even if she wins the money. In the meantime, Inam and Gi-hun start the game, and Inam wins 5 of Gi-hun's marbles in just the first round. As they go on, Gi-hun is left with only 1 marble. He nervously guesses odd for the number of marbles inside Inam's fist, only to discover it is even. Gi-hun loses the game. However, Inam forgets what Gi-hun predicted, allowing him to change his answer. Starting that round, Gi-hun uses Inam's dementia to win every round. At last, Inam only has 1 marble left, but he starts looking for his house again, instead of playing. Similarly, Deoksu also wins the game against one of his minions, when his marble accidentally knocks Deoksu's into the pit. Ji-young and Sae-byeok decide to throw 1 marble at the wall, and the one who throws the closest will win. Sae-byeok goes first, and does pretty well, but when it is Ji-young's turn, she drops the marble on the ground, lazily, making Sae-byeok win. Sae-byeok corners her and asks her to go again because it isn't fair. However, Ji-young claims that she has nothing to live for, unlike her. They say their last goodbyes before a staff member shoots Ji-young dead. Ali, on the other hand, goes looking for Sang-woo because only a few minutes of the game are left, but when he checks his bag of marbles, he realizes that his brother-like friend has betrayed him. Sang-woo has exchanged Ali's marbles with pebbles. Ali sheds one last tear, still in disbelief, before a guard shoots him dead. Now, only Inam and Gi-hun are left. They have to play one last game for Gi-hun to win. To Gi-hun's surprise, Inam reveals that he knows Gi-hun has been cheating him. The old man had faked having dementia to make Gi-hun win. At last, Gi-hun happily hands his last marble to Gi-hun and thanks him for playing with him. Gi-hun hugs his friend for the last time and walks out of the house, sobbing, as a gunshot startles him, indicating that Gi-hun has been killed. Ali is put into a coffin by the staff, while the players who won the game are taken back to the room. Deoksu walks into the room first, and is surprised to see Minyo peacefully resting on her bed. She makes fun of him, and is proud that she didn't have to play the game, because she didn't get a partner. The most important aim of the game is for it to be fair. Since the doctor's death was the reason she didn't get a partner, Minyo was spared. Now, only 17 players are alive. In another room, the Overseer gets a call from the VIPs, informing him that they are about to arrive. After the call, the Overseer gets his gun and asks Junho to come out. Junho had accidentally placed the phone on the receiver backwards, giving away his presence. The Overseer goes around the room, looking for the intruder, but gets a call in the middle of his search. His staff has found a dead body on the north coast of the island. When he leaves, we see that Junho is hiding behind the shelves. Meanwhile, all the players are distressed because of the last game. All of them have become responsible for the death of someone they were close to. Sang-woo, however, tells Gi-hun not to think about it too much, because the old man was only a stranger who he had known for a few days. Sang-woo has already shown his ruthless side by tricking Ali into dying, but now Gi-hun starts to realize just how greedy his friend is. Elsewhere, the Overseer goes to see the body of the person Junho had thrown into the sea when he first came to the island. They find Junho's ID in the man's pocket and assume that he is the police officer, but the Overseer's demeanor changes when he sees the ID. Just then, he gets a call saying that the VIPs have arrived. The Overseer quickly goes to meet his boss, who is the main man and the organizer of the games. He takes off his golden bedazzled animal mask and asks the Overseer to receive the VIPs, because he doesn't want to be the one to welcome them. The VIPs turn out to be some rich foreigners who bet on the players' lives, the same way people do with horses. They are received by the Overseer, who apologizes on behalf of the organizer and takes them to their exclusive lounge. Meanwhile, in the room, no one sleeps at night for fear of being killed. The man whose wife died is filled with unbearable guilt and ties the bedsheet around his neck. The man finally hangs himself off the bunk bed. One of the VIPs sees this in the surveillance footage and gets annoyed because he had bet $1 million on that man. The others laugh it off, showing that money is the least of their problems, and they do this for fun. Simultaneously, Junho abducts a waiter appointed to serve the VIPs with drinks. He changes his clothes and disguises himself as the waiter after killing him. He also places his cell phone up his sleeve to record everything he sees. Meanwhile, the players are woken up by an alarm and see a coffin being brought inside. They finally see that the man has hung himself. Before they can comprehend what happened, they are called for the 5th game. The VIPs rest in the lavish lounge while watching the players and deciding who they should bet on. Junho enters the place, and a perverted VIP's eyes land on him. He calls Junho near and asks him to stay nearby. This time, the players are brought to the empty white room again, but this time it has 16 mannequins placed in front of them, each wearing a number. They are told to choose one randomly. Everyone tries going for the middle ones, because being at the front or back is risky. Before Gi-hun can choose one, only the first and last ones are left. Gi-hun reasons that if he goes first, he might have more time left. He's about to take the first one, when another player asks him if he can have it instead. Gi-hun accepts, and takes the very last one. They are then brought to the place where they will be playing the game. It has a bridge, composed of many panels of glass, which they are supposed to cross. But some of the glass is tempered, so it will break when the player steps on it, making the person fall to their death. The man who took the first place has to go first, and therefore has a very low chance of winning. The person in first accepts his fate and moves forward, but falls to his doom with his second jump. Similarly, the second man jumps quickly over the first few glasses, but eventually falls. Sang-woo is nervous because they are taking a lot of time to cross, which might cause him Sae-byok and Gi-hun to not get there in time. Eventually, the person before Deoksu falls off, leaving him in the front. Deoksu is too scared to move ahead himself, so he tells his minion behind him to go forward. The man, however, doesn't agree, saying that this is a matter of life and death. Meanwhile, the VIP who is attracted to Jun-ho now asks him to sit down beside him. He flirts with Jun-ho and asks him to take the mask off. Jun-ho knows if he takes it off, his secret will be revealed, but the VIP insists. With no way out, he asks the man to come to the other room, where they can have some privacy. The man totally ignores the game and goes to the other room with Jun-ho. He then takes off his robe and stands naked in front of Jun-ho, expecting sexual favors from him. Jun-ho, however, gets his gun out and threatens the man to take his mask off. He turns out to be a wealthy, middle-aged American man. Jun-ho starts recording a video, telling the man to reveal everything he knows about the game. Back in the game, Minyo pushes Deoksu's minion off the glass and takes his place. She and Deoksu throw insults at each other before she agrees to go before him. She doesn't want him to waste her time because only 3 minutes are left. She asks him to move and steps on his glass, but instead of moving forward, takes a tight hold of him. Minyo reminds Deoksu of when she threatened to kill him if he ever betrayed her. Deoksu tries to get her off of him, but he cannot make a lot of movement on the glass. At last, she deliberately falls off the bridge, taking Deoksu with her. Now, only 4 of the players are left. Gi-hun at the end, then Sae-byok, Sang-woo, and at the front is an old man who claims to be a glassmaker with 30 years of experience. The man can tell the difference between the 2 types of glass by observing the way the light reflects off of them. He easily passes the first few glasses, taking the group closer to victory. But the VIPs realize he can tell the glasses apart, and the overseer turns the lights off. He is now at the last glass but cannot tell which is tempered. When he takes too much time, Sang-woo takes the matter into his own hands and pushes the man to the glass in front of him. The glass breaks, and Sang-woo easily steps onto another one and wins the round. Sae-byok and Gi-hun do the same and pass at the last second. A charge is detonated, and the remaining glass explodes, injuring the winners as well. Sang-woo and Gi-hun get minor cuts, but Sae-byok is gravely injured. Meanwhile, the overseer asks a staff member to see what is going on with the VIP and the waiter, but they find both of them missing. The overseer gets on a boat himself to go on a search for him. Sang-woo, Sae-byok, and Gi-hun are the only 3 left out of the 456 players who first arrived. The staff come into the room and congratulate them for getting through the 5 rounds and finally making it to the 6th. They hand the players 1 box each and invite them somewhere special. Sae-byok goes to the washroom and takes her clothes off to reveal a shard of glass protruding from her abdomen. She painfully takes it out and bandages the wound with her shirt. The box given by the staff has fancy clothes inside, which the players are supposed to wear. The players are then brought to a triangular dining table and given a lavish feast. The guys devour it completely, but Sae-byok barely even touches the food because of her injury. After they are done, the staff take their utensils away, but leave them with a knife. Meanwhile, Jun-ho is on the run from the overseer and ends up on another side of the island. His phone finally gets reception, and he sends his superior the pictures he had taken in the facility. But before he can run away, the staff and the overseer catch up to him. Now he lies in between the staff and a cliff and has no way out of the situation. The overseer asks him to drop his gun, but Jun-ho stays put. The overseer doesn't back off either. Instead, he moves towards the policeman, which makes Jun-ho shoot him in his shoulder. At that moment, the overseer finally takes his mask off. Looking at his face, Jun-ho freezes in shock. The overseer is Jun-ho's brother, In-ho, the man Jun-ho has been looking for all this time. In-ho points his gun at his little brother and reluctantly shoots him. Jun-ho falls into the sea and dies. Back in the facility, the trio comes back to the room, and each stays in their respective corner, as far away from each other as possible. Gi-hun approaches Sae-byok and asks her if she is okay. Sae-byok points her knife at him at first, but puts it away when he says he isn't there to hurt her. Gi-hun asks her to work together with him in the following round because he doesn't trust Sang-woo anymore. The two make a promise to take care of one another's families if they win the money. Then, Gi-hun sees Sang-woo falling asleep on his bed. He moves towards him with his knife, but Sae-byok stops him, saying that they should not be reduced to his level. Just then, Gi-hun notices Sae-byok's injury. She is bleeding profusely through her shirt. Gi-hun freaks out and starts yelling at the staff to come in and save her. As he bangs on the door, some staff come in, but they have a coffin with them. Gi-hun looks back at Sae-byok, only to find Sang-woo standing over her with his knife. He had stabbed her to death, while Gi-hun was begging the staff to save her. Gi-hun loses control and shakes Sae-byok's limp body, trying to wake her. He attacks Sang-woo in a fit of rage, but is stopped by the guard. Eventually, they take Sae-byok's body away and burn it in the furnace. The two final contestants of the game are Gi-hun and Sang-woo. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.